The rappers that you know that never been to jail and never gotten any trouble with the law, but they talk as if their life is opposite of that. Like those are federal.
What jurors heard today were tales of appalling physical abuse by Sean Combs as prosecutors portrayed him as a monster who controlled people and plied them with drugs, threats, money.
He felt otherwise, and they would always hold this contract up and say, well, you signed it. And I say, well, I understand that. It's not like I want to leave. I just want to, talk about this thing and see if we can't make it.
Katt Williams is gearing up to release some never-before-seen video of Prince, footage that Diddy's legal team reportedly worked hard to keep out of court.
And so I couldn't initially understand what kept driving him, because it just seemed to me like he was never happy.
If the talk is true, Katt's been holding on to serious evidence. For years, proof that could reveal some of the entertainment industry's biggest secrets.
Phil.
I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say I'm so free.
So the big question is, why were Diddy's lawyers so desperate to keep that footage out of court? Could it be that Prince knew something he wasn't supposed to? For years, most people thought Prince was just fighting to own his music, and he was. He spent a long time battling for his master recordings, warning other artists about shady deals, and doing interviews where he flat out called the music business a slave system. But later in his life, his focus shifted. It wasn't just about unfair contracts or missing royalties anymore. Prince started naming names, real people, not just companies. And one name that kept popping up? Sean Diddy Combs. Prince wasn't just uncomfortable with Diddy's fame or influence. What really bothered him was who Diddy was partnering with, and how those quiet deals were changing the music industry in ways that concerned him deeply.
Ricky, they've been a group. Everybody knows that. They've been aligned. If you stand against them, then they sometimes have a...
Around 2015, Diddy got real close with Warner Music Group, the same company Prince had spent years fighting. This wasn't just some music industry feud. Warner used to own everything Prince created. His songs, his image, even his name. That's why he famously wrote slave on his face and changed his name to a symbol. He was done playing by their rules. So when Prince found out Diddy was quietly making deals with Warner, the same company he fought for decades, it wasn't just disappointing. It felt threatening. People close to Prince say he believed Diddy wasn't just doing business. He thought Diddy was helping rebuild a new version of the same system. One designed to control not just music, but the artists themselves. More money, more power, and way less accountability.
There's a disintegration going on that we really have to address.
This is where Katt Williams comes in. In several interviews, he said Prince personally warned him about both Diddy and Jay-Z. And it wasn't just gossip. Prince supposedly had real dirt on them. We're talking footage, names, and specific events that could ruin careers if they ever got out. Now, Katt never claimed he saw the evidence himself, but he sounded serious. He described Prince as someone who knew too much and didn't trust anyone. By the end, sources say Prince even recorded his own parties. Not for fun, but for protection. He wanted proof of who showed up and who tried to pressure or trap his guests. Here's where it gets darker. Some believe Prince uncovered a whole network where artists were being drugged, filmed, and blackmailed at private industry events. It sounds wild, but others, like Jaguar Wright, Katt Williams, and Dave Chappelle, have dropped hints about shady stuff going on behind the scenes. With his resources and caution, Prince might have had actual proof. But just months after he pushed back on a major deal with Roc Nation, which would have given them full streaming rights to his vault, he was found dead in an elevator at Paisley Park. His death was ruled an accidental overdose. Fentanyl-laced pills were found. But for many, it didn't add up. In his final years, Prince had tightened his circle and beefed up security. Sadly, it wasn't enough.
That also really concerned me because it made me think that, wow, so you mean you do all these things to take care of yourself and you die so young?
Prince wasn't just worried about his own safety. He was deeply concerned about what was happening in the music world. In the weeks before he died, he confided in close friends about powerful people and risky behavior happening behind closed doors. He warned about exclusive parties where young artists felt forced to show up just to stay relevant. It makes you wonder. What made Prince lock down Paisley Park like a fortress? What had him so on edge? And what was that strange final warning about staying safe really about? Cat Williams says he's been holding on to proof for years. Recordings, contracts, private conversations, things Prince allegedly shared with him back in 2002. In an old interview with Arsenio Hall, Cat opened up about how close they were. He first met Prince at just 12 years old during a concert in Dayton, Ohio. From then on, Prince became a mentor, someone who helped shape Cat's confidence and style. To the world, Prince was a music icon. But to Cat, he was something more. A deep thinker who always stayed ahead of the curve. Prince encouraged him to embrace who he was, reminding him that it's okay to be different. As Cat put it, you can be short, light-skinned, and have long hair. And if the ladies love you, who cares what anyone else thinks?
He was a high thinker and a guy that was always 30 steps ahead of whatever the curve.
Some fans are starting to connect the dots, and the picture they're seeing is pretty disturbing. Cat Williams once said, Prince was always 30 steps ahead. Now people are wondering, did Prince sense something darker on the horizon? And if Cat was truly close to him, could he have known about a plan to silence Prince? Prince was always mysterious. But toward the end of his life, his warnings got more serious. People close to him say he knew about shady things happening behind the scenes in the music world. That's why he urged younger artists to be careful about the dangers they couldn't see, and his concerns weren't random. Around that same time, federal investigators were reportedly looking into disturbing activity tied to private industry parties, including events linked to Diddy. Prince may have had inside knowledge about all of it. While the full truth is still hidden, many believe what Prince knew made him a threat to some very powerful people. That might explain why he became more isolated and cautious in his final years. After Prince's death, Diddy publicly said he was heartbroken. But Cat Williams wasn't buying it. He called out the hypocrisy, pointing to Diddy's actions that went against everything Prince stood for. It paints a harsh picture of the music industry's dark side, where power, control, and money often outweigh talent and truth. Prince and Diddy weren't just two big names. They represented two sides of a bigger battle. One fighting for freedom and independence, the other tied to control and exploitation. And some believe that fight may have cost Prince his life.
There's a disintegration going on that we really have to address.
Prince's warnings about Diddy weren't just personal. They pointed to serious problems in the entertainment world. He raised red flags about exclusive invite-only parties where young artists were left vulnerable and exposed. These gatherings became a key reason Prince felt the need to protect others from the industry's darker side. To him, it wasn't just about music. It was about keeping people safe from something much bigger and more dangerous happening behind closed doors.
I think that we should address this as a community as to what it's doing to the culture.
While powerful figures in the music industry were hosting wild parties that took advantage of young artists, Prince was doing the complete opposite. His legendary 3121 parties weren't about fame or status. They were safe spaces. No cameras, no press. Just good music, respect, and freedom to be yourself. That's a far cry from the shady parties tied to Diddy and others, which, according to recent lawsuits, involved drugs, pressure, and promises of fame that left young artists trapped in dangerous situations. Looking back now, with more details coming out through investigations, it's clear Prince wasn't just hosting parties. He was building a refuge, a quiet rebellion against an industry that often mistreats the very people it profits from.
The indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the
In the industry, many artists felt they had no choice but to attend those high-profile parties, believing their careers depended on it. That pressure created a cycle of manipulation and silence. Prince broke that cycle. With 3121, he offered a real alternative, an environment that didn't exploit, but empowered. Cat Williams later pointed out that this move made Prince a threat to powerful people. By creating safe spaces, Prince challenged the very system they relied on to keep control. As more artists came forward to share what it was really like at 3121 gatherings, a clearer picture began to form, not just of the joy Prince offered, but of the darkness he was trying to protect them from.
And so good at like taking a line that maybe people would say it and make it into something that everybody now associates with him, you know.
Prince understood what was really going on behind the scenes, and with his influence, independence, and refusal to play by the industry's rules, he became a serious threat to those in power. He didn't stay silent either. He used his platform to warn younger artists about certain parties and gatherings he believed were dangerous. He'd seen the dark side of the business and wanted to protect others from going through the same thing. Now, with Diddy facing serious federal charges, things like coercion, abuse, and using private footage to control people, Prince's warnings are starting to look less like paranoia and more like the truth. His death wasn't just the loss of one man. It marked the clash of two sides of the industry. One side built on power, control, and secrets. The other, the side Prince stood for, was about freedom, ownership, and doing things your own way. He fought to own his name, his music, even his parties, and it made him enemies. When he refused to give up his catalog and kept certain people away from his stage, he got more and more isolated. And when he started speaking out, he became a threat. Between the fake pills, the missing footage, the rushed investigation, and sealed files, it all suggests Prince's story isn't over. And now, with Diddy's legal troubles exposing more of the truth, fans are starting to realize Prince wasn't crazy. He was prepared. They may have tried to bury the truth back then, but it's all starting to surface. Prince didn't just leave behind legendary music, he left a message, and now people are finally hearing it. That's it for this one, y'all. Peace out.